So hey guys, welcome back once again, and in today's video I'm gonna talk further about Controlnet Extension. So if you are new to this channel, then I have already made a video about Controlnet Extension on how to use it and an overall guide about Controlnet Extension. So I have already made a video about this and the link will be already in the description. The next video that I've already made about one of the model of Controlnet Extension, and that's Canny Model. So you can check that video as well. In that I have already explained about Canny Model and how to work with like Canny Model. So basically in this video I'm gonna further talk about couple of the more models in like Controlnet Extension and how to use them and why to use them. I will talk about them. So basically in today's video I'm gonna talk about like depth model as well as like OpenPose model. So these are the two models, depth model and OpenPose model, that I'm gonna talk about. And yes, in today's video I will be also comparing with like Canny Model as well. So I will let you know in this video why to use Canny Model, why to use depth model, and why to use OpenPose model. So let's get started with the video. So guys, first of all I will talk about with like depth model. As you can see over here, I was just converting this man into like a cybernetic man. As you can see, this is the result over here. So first of all let me show you the setting that I'm using. As I'm using over here art and arrows model, Controlnet Extension. You can see over here enabled over here low VRAM, as I'm having low VRAM, and weight 1. I will just keep weight 1 and I will only mess with like this preprocessor and model. So that's the only thing that I'm using right now, and I will only mess with like preprocessor and model today, and I will show you the difference and explain you what difference it will make. So the first thing that I'm gonna talk about depth model is that while generating image, depth model generates a depth mask. As you can see over here, this is the mask that is generated, depth mask. You can call it as a depth mask, and depending upon this it will convert your image. As you can see, this is the image that we got. Pretty amazing result and pretty, like, you can definitely say a cybernetic man standing on the roof. This was my prompt, but you can definitely see that there is a cybernetic man but not in the roof. But yeah, I got a result with a cybernetic man. You can see, definitely see. So depth mask is something like easy way to convert this image into like a cybernetic or some other form. What if I go with like a cybernetic woman? Let's go with like cybernetic woman. Will it convert into like cybernetic woman? And let's see what result do we get. Okay, so guys, this is the result that we got of a woman standing upon a top roof. First of all, you can see over here there is a detailed image going on of a cybernetic woman, and yes, the image are totally detailed and like similar to like this image as well. But one thing, have you noticed that why it hasn't changed the wall? Because I have already commented like standing on top of the roof. The reason to this, I realized one thing is that depth mask concentrate more on like this mask. As you can see, this is the human mask that it has generated with reference to this image. So that's the reason why it's totally focusing on a human body rather than focusing on the background as well. So here if I say, guys, if you want to change like the human as well and the background as well, then here comes the model that comes into play is OpenPose model. So OpenPose model works really great on like converting your image into like totally different background and like different pose image as well. Maintaining the pose of the human, it will change like human as well as the background as well. I will explain this further in the video, but first of all we will compare it with like, let's compare it with like Canny Model as well first of all. So this time we will go on to like Canny Model and I will explain the difference over this as well. So let's go into the Canny Model and we will keep this similar. We will not go with woman, we will go with man. Let's see what result do we get with like Canny Model as well, and I will show you the difference. So let's generate and let's see what result do we get. So guys, this is the result that we got with like Canny Model. As you can see over here, not a lot of changes. If you can see, not a lot of changes compared to like a depth model. Depth model totally changed this image. The reason to this, let me explain you first of all. As I said earlier, Canny Model works on like edges of the images. As you have already seen on like depth model generates a depth mask. So there was not a lot of details going on compared to like Canny Model. You can see over here in Canny Model, there are a lot of details going on this image. So depend upon these edges, Canny Model works on like this detail in order to put details on this image. So that's where it makes a major difference. So that's why it hasn't changed a body a lot, because it made use of these details. It made use of this detail, total edge details, and with reference to like this detail, it has converted this image. So that's why Canny model is like totally unable to convert this man into like a cybernetic man. So one more thing that I realized yesterday and today with Canny model is that if you want to add a minor details over this, just like converting this image into like pink t-shirt and like blue jeans, so will it convert into like pink t-shirt and blue jeans? Let's see what result do we get. So guys, this is the result that we got. Pretty amazing and a pretty detailed result compared to that with like cybernetic man. The reason to this is only because it made use of this edge map. So that's how Canny model work. And what if I go on to like, let's go on to depth, and we will not change this. We will just keep this as it is, and let's see what result do we get with like depth mask as well. And let's see what result do we get. So guys, this is the result that we got. Pretty amazing and pretty detailed image here as well. The only difference with like depth model is that it uses depth mask. As you can see over here, this is the mask it has generated, and depend upon this mask you can even convert this image like into like cybernetic man or like cybernetic woman. As I have already shown in the earlier result, I have already converted it into like cybernetic man and cybernetic woman. Like this time as well, you can see it hasn't changed a lot of like rooftop, no rooftop, still a wall going on the background. You can see, definitely see still a wall going on a background as well. Okay, if you want to totally change this man into like woman or like cybernetic woman or like totally different woman wearing different thing, then yes, definitely I will recommend like a depth model. So this is where depth model come into like existence if you want to totally change this man. So that's the major difference that I found between Canny model and depth model. So if you want to like change the background with like not messing much with like this setting, then there is where one model come into existence, and that's OpenPose model. So I will not recommend OpenPose preprocessor. I will go with like OpenPose hand. The reason why I will tell you this, OpenPose hand preprocessor, and then I will go with like OpenPose model. So now let's check on to like OpenPose model as well, and let's see what result do we get. So guys, here is the result that we got with like OpenPose. So first of all, let me tell you what's the difference between OpenPose. So OpenPose uses only this pose. As you can see, this is somewhat generated like a pose of a human. You can definitely see these are the hands going on, and this is the body, and this is the leg, and this is the head. So it only uses this, not a lot of detailed work going on, and you can definitely see the result. Let me show you the result. You can definitely see a human being similar pose to like this man. So this time you can definitely see that there is a change in the background as well, something like a roof or something different thing, but yeah, not similar to like depth model and like Canny model. Depth model and Canny model didn't even change the background, but this time it's like totally different thing on the background. The reason to this is that OpenPose model only made use of these lines as a human figure. There is nothing else going on the background. It only made use of these lines as a human figure, and the reason why I select OpenPose hand is because it also generates something like this. You can see over here hands linings going on here as well and on here as well. So that's the reason why OpenPose hand is better to go with, and it will concentrate more on hand as well. And this time what we will do is that we will totally change this image into like a cybernetic man standing on the street wearing pink armor. So let's see what result do we get this time. So guys, this is the first result that we got with like OpenPose model, and you can see over here totally a different image, totally a different man, a different image, and yes, a totally cybernetic man. But this time, yeah, not a lot of changes on the wall as well, as I've already edited like standing on street. So if you see on standing on street, and definitely there's a street going on and a wall going on. So definitely it changed a lot. We will change this as well. It will not go with like standing on street. So this time I have changed like this prompt into like cybernetic man standing in cybernetic city. This time we will go also with like woman. Let's go with like woman, and let's see what result do we get in this as well. So guys, this is the result that we got. As you can see over here, Controlnet model, Controlnet OpenPose. Okay, so this is the result that we got. Pretty amazing, pretty detailed cybernetic woman going on, and yes, cybernetic city as well. Pretty amazing result, pretty amazing control as well. So that's the reason why I've already said that each of the model works totally differently, and each of the models have different controls, so different purposes as well. So that's the reason why I already said that I will go into depth and make a video about this. And in this video I have gone into like depth model in like OpenPose model and like compared it with like Canny model as well. So that's the only major difference that I wanted to share you, and that's the reason why I made this video, and I hope so guys you like this video as well. So now guys, let's come on to the conclusion as well. Till now I have covered 3 of the different model, that's Canny model and depth model and now OpenPose model as well. And if we come on to the conclusion, if I say if you want to use Canny model, then use it for adding details such as like changing color of the t-shirt, changing color of the clothes, changing color of the backgrounds, or changing some human being. But you won't be able to change something like a cybernetic into like a cybernetic man or like something like that. The reason to this is only because it uses Canny edges in order to fill detail. It uses edges to fill details. Okay, that's the one use of the Canny model. So the next model is the depth model that I have covered, and let me tell you, if you want to use depth model, then you go and convert into like, if you want to convert the figures into like something different figures, then you can go into depth model because it uses depth masks to convert images. And yes, if you convert into like cybernetic man or cybernetic woman or something like totally different style, so that's where depth model come into existence. But it has a limitation as well, as I've already shown in this video. And if you want to change the image totally, like totally different figure and like background, then OpenPose model come into existence. As I've already shown you that OpenPose model changes totally differently, and it uses this figure, this line figure as human figure, and it converts it into like totally different image, and like it focus on background as well, because there's nothing much to focus on like OpenPose model as well. So that's the 3 model that I have covered till now, and yes, this is the major difference between 3 of the models. So that's it for today. I hope so guys you like this video, and yes, I will be back with more and more videos tomorrow. Till then, have a good day. Bye guys, love you all guys, and see you soon guys. Bye guys.